Hi guys, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we'll be back our alternate history of the world series. And as you know, that world war just ended, and now tensions are rising in the Middle East. Specifically between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Because, why not? And it's probably the 1980s now. As you can tell, our next season's pretty soon for this series, which will be basically like an alternate. But we'll call it season 2 because it'll be basically the modern world, so it wouldn't make sense to keep it being performed. And yeah, probably won't see the mistake I made before, I'm going to edit it out. But yeah, let's watch as Saudi makes its offensive pushing into western Iran. But as you can tell, their offensive is strong, along with a naval landing over here. You might be like, oh, they're probably going to win at this point. But I don't think that they look like they'll win at this point, yes. As they march across Iran and over towards its capital. With an offensive here being quickly performed to meet up with the capital area. But with Iran making a counter-offensive in this region. The Iranian counter-offensive being so successful, it pushed the Russian forces all the way back to here. Not Russian, Saudi forces. So yeah. With the stalemate eventually being established and a need for Iran to get more allies. Which they end up asking India for help, which India accepts for some reason. With Iran's goals at this point, they get the Saudis out. Saudi Arabia out, I should be more specific. With Saudi moving further in. But on a much more minor front, Iran knows they're going to lose land, so they try to keep it in the south. As they go back for the capital. Although this time Iran is successful too. At the second battle of Tehran. Well, they mostly focus on the northern part of this front. As Indian forces start arriving, it becomes obvious that Arabia will need an ally, but they can't get one. They basically annex them all. So yeah. With Iran's offensive into Saudi Arabia starting, and you can tell this based on the front, with relations not getting bad though, like you would expect at this point. With an offensive by India being started into Saudi Arabia. With Turkey not joining but being asked by Iran. Although they see it enticing at this point to join, they join the team you would expect them to. And at this point, they're moving through. I think this area is like no one's in, but yeah. As they move up this area, the troops in this region surrender. As the real front is really in the north. With India continuing its front. But at this point, it's getting pretty hard. That's how far it is. And how narrow, that's not much area for supplies to get in. This area is widened, so it's easier to get supplies in. Israel allows troops to cross their border. As it was either that or get invaded. Which they don't want to end up happening. Although their nation doesn't look like it's going to work so in this timeline, but yeah. With Riyadh falling, and the movement to the populated area of Arabia. If I'm actually noticing, if you notice, look, they're not really focused on this because most of this is desert. But they do this because why not? Encircle this area, make a wider area to supply. And then they for some reason decide walking through a desert's a great idea. So that's what they do. And as you can tell, this doesn't look that great. But yeah. They walk straight across, meaning they can get supplies straight across there. With the rest of Saudi's major cities falling, basically maybe not all, but most. The Unified Arabia signs peace. But they don't get puppeted, luckily. As the Transatlantic Alliance. Basically NATO in this timeline, but the Transatlantic. Which is a security pact, even though there's nothing to secure it by. But yes. And France joins. So does England, Scotland. Ireland joins, as they can. Brittany joins. Canada joins, but why not? Newfoundland and Labrador joins, because they're somehow still independent in this timeline. They can go bankrupt. I don't know how that's possible, but yeah. And so, yeah, no. But yeah, Canada just joins because they can. And Germany asks to join, which causes the Netherlands to just join because why not? And that's part of America, and I think they annexed this. Yep, they did. Colombia joined because it's a transatlantic, so anybody on the Atlantic can join based on the name. Iceland joins because why not? But that's about all that joins at this time. Russia has an election which changes the government. After a failed attempt by communist forces. So this could have been a good thing. But the only thing is, this isn't a civil war. You may be like, what? Why am I using war colors? But not really. With the communists somehow taking control over this, an authoritarian group, which goes straight to Moscow, launches their coup d'etat in Moscow. They go straight to St. Petersburg, launching a coup d'etat. And they go here, they launch a coup. And they continue their coup going on. This area falls over. And with a big success, the government of Russia basically capitulates over to this group. Because this isn't a civil war. With wherever they encircle just falling because, with the Russians thinking, yeah, that's now they're communist. And you may be like, this would have been a great thumbnail, but it wasn't really a civil war or anything of interest, let's say. So maybe it wouldn't be. Maybe it would have been, but I think the war that happened first is more significant to the video than this. You might have a different opinion, but that's okay. Well, yeah. Except maybe not in this republic that I just formed, but yeah. Yep. And Russia does the unexpected. They declare war on Ukraine. Who even saw this coming in this series? I'm sure no one did. With a quick march into Crimea, which they didn't get, then an invasion here. Quick invasion in the south. With Germany not putting all of its land in. Poland, seeing this, Russia is definitely going to be more on their border and wanting to make an area that they will attack. If they do attack instead of directly. With them quickly taking Kiev. And Ukraine basically is forced into falling. Basically. Russia goes to war with the Baltics. Because they can. Go to war with Baltica. And with what's left of Ukraine. With Poland concerned about what to do, they asked the Transatlantic Alliance for support in what they're about to do. Which they do get, so they launched their invasion of Ukraine. Yep, that's the only way they can solve this, I guess. And their invasion of Ukraine going pretty well, because Ukrainians are allowing this as they're fighting Russians, continuing a stalemate on the Russian front as this happens, and then in the Baltics, well, similar things happen, except part of it only Poland's able to conquer. But due to the support they got, they were in an agreement where they could take some land, but they can't take it all, just because they need to form a Ukrainian state. Which, I think that's good, fair. Now, Poland decides to join the Transatlantic Alliance, just because of protection and stuff. And not many nations do see them as favorable, except Austria-Hungary for some reason. Which is going to be important at some point. With Russia trying to strive for stronger relations with other nations, at this point they invade Finland. Finnish resistance is strong, but a majority of Russians and Russian-occupied lands by Finland, which have Russians. Specifically here, Russia's claiming they're protecting. And if they were really telling the truth, they wouldn't continue, but they do. Into the Kola Peninsula they go. It looks like they're going to overtake the Finnish government, but yeah, just keep watching. As Finland is about to fall. Literally, I'm just saying, it is going to fall for the first time in this series. That's the truth. As they make a major counter-offensive, which the Russians weren't prepared for to fight against. This government has no chance of having a super victory. It looks like... But Finland can't make any more offensives, neither can Russia. With a peace treaty being agreed for at least 10 years, Russia can't invade for 15. Oh, yeah. And then Russia basically sends Romania, which is starting to improve relations with them, and Austria-Hungary, which has become really close to them and started trading a lot. Even though the government changed, they're still close allies. With them having sent over resources, but on top of that, with different circumstances in our world, Germans rise up across on the side of Austria and the side of Hungary. There's rebels. And as you can tell, the Hungary part makes a big offensive, as Austria does too. As Austria takes out Prague and then the rest falls to Hungary. And then in the peace treaty is full annexation. And Russia forms a new alliance called the Eurasian Alliance. The Eurasian Alliance. Alliance. Which we'll use brown to represent, because why not? And there's a few countries that'll join this right away. And basically, these nations include some powerful and some not so powerful. Then they send invites to a few nations, including India, Iran, Turkey, Bulgaria, Romania, Yugoslavia, Italy, China, Mongolia. A few nations out of those including Bulgaria, Yugoslavia, Turkey, Iran, and Mongolia accept the joining offer. Romania then joins, and Italy basically becomes what looks like might fall apart, a civil war, so they join this. With Morocco joining it, because there's nothing better to be at. Israel does. And India is just getting unstable, so they'll probably fall apart. And that's pretty much all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. And please subscribe so you can get the 1,600 subscribers by December 1st. That's all for today's video. I'll map her out, but not until you subscribe. Bye, guys!